Welcome to another episode of the Texas Legion. My name is John, aka Hamamulo. Today I'm playing versus Matt, I think it was his name, where he was playing a huge 13-act Rebel list, where I was playing a list I'm practicing for local GT. It's Thrawn, Tarkin, Kallus, a couple dewbacks, a couple of scout troopers with the new Proton Saboteurs, a couple of new strike teams, a Death Trooper, and a couple of cores, one being the Super Squad of Shores. And yeah, I'm just trying out some new stuff for a local GT that's coming up, trying to decide what I'm going to play, if it's going to be anything crazy or anything like that. And so he was also playing a list he was trying out, and was nothing new or crazy, just 13 acts with the new Chewie, and I think he had a Din and a Luke, and so it was a pretty interesting game. I set up and put my bounty on Luke. He put his bounty on Kallus, and we just went right into it. We ended up playing Cauldron, and I think we'll see here in a second, but Cauldron was the main objective here, which was pretty nice for me, especially because you don't remove suppression if you're contesting, and my list had a lot of suppression that I could do, a lot of different things to add suppression, a lot of different things to keep it on somebody, and so it was just a really nice list in general, and was nothing too crazy overall. And so yeah, it was, we're gonna get into the game. And so we set up Cauldron. My thought with this, and we played Retrieve the Data, that's what it was. And so my thought with this was, with Retrieve the Data and Cauldron, I can put out my two that I'm trying to retrieve pretty close to my edge of the board, where I can use my strike teams to grab them early, put a suppression on them turn one, which is really important. I found in Retrieve the Data, if you can put a suppression on those turn one, or even two suppression on them turn one, it really helps you to grab those early, because that's an early 2 points. And not a lot of people think about that when they're playing Retrieve the Data, but getting those 2 points pretty early is very nice, especially if you know you're trying to take advantage of things. And so for deployment, I put out my strike teams first, because I realized, oh yeah, that's the smart thing to do. Don't show where the Super Shore is going to be yet. And so I put both of my strike teams out, one on each side, close to those Retrieve the Data. He put down some vets and some other things, and then I put out my mortar, and I was trying to decide which side do I want to go on. I had lots of line of sight blocking and area terrain on this map, and so I decided to put my mortar where he wouldn't get shot turn one, but he could move shoot with that cumbersome new change and all the good stuff. And so then put out my shores next to him and just line them up using that sweet range one cohesion. He threw down a couple of other things. The vets, I think, was his big thing, and then we just chose our bounties, and then we played our round one cards, and I played Kallus's 3-pip, and he played Discretion, which was an interesting choice. But Kallus's 3-pip gives me an extra suppressive on my Super Shores, and gives me a couple of turns of order control, or a couple of picks of order control turn one, which is really nice because I can issue orders to my dewbacks. Thrawn can direct Tarkin, which is important because you want Tarkin to go later to give those Super Shores an order, or sorry, pull the strings. And then I ended up not choosing to order my dewbacks because I had 4 supports in the core, and I could give the order to somebody else and have Thrawn have an order, Tarkin have an order, and I think I gave the Death Troopers an order there. And so that way my order pool was pretty clean, because my only core my core had an order, so then I just had special forces and supports in my bag, which was fine because I wanted to go later with my special forces anyways, and I wanted to go later with my supports. And so having them go later in the round was really good for me, just overall in general. Yeah, so once we started going from there, we gave orders out. I went ahead and went with my support snipers. I decided to keep the incognito on and just put a wound or suppression on that token. Didn't realize it took off incognito, and later in the game we fixed that, and so down, which is not a big deal. It didn't really affect the game much, but we did fix it later. He moved around and shot at my Super Shores, didn't do any damage, went ahead and blocked it all. So I went ahead and went with them to shoot back. afterwards. Excuse me. All right, so he moved up with his Mark II gun, looking for a shot. Gunhead takes a shot at the shores, trying to do some critical. Ends up losing 2 guys there. Not a huge deal. And a suppression. We're not too concerned about it. So I go ahead and go with them. I dominable it off. I aim and shoot back at that Mark II, doing not a ton of damage, but we do get nicely used as precise. And so we re-roll, do some damage, lay down a suppression token, and we're able to do a little bit of damage back to the Mark II, which is good. We needed to do some damage. Almost killed it. I think it was 1 shy of killing it. So we went up and went with the core that we had. That was just kind of a naked T21 core. Really wasn't meant to do much. I was trying to see if I could get range there. Could not end up getting range of that Mark II just because the way he went out. So I decided to move up or take a double move and just hide behind some cover. He then went ahead and went with his sniper team. No, commandos. He went with the commandos. And he started double moving those commandos up to get into a good position for attacking my home left hand side of the cauldron. And so it was pretty just simple turn 1, nothing really crazy. I think this turn was all about, for me, how can I use my pull the strings to really affect the game. And so I put Thrawn up there to give out some more aims, and then Tarkin moved on and used pull the strings to get the super shorts to do a shot on the Mark II, killing it with the heavy and the shooting everything else at the veterans. And really shows the power of Tarkin with pull the strings. I've seen a couple people talk about pull the strings in general and different ways to use it. I think using it for a move is okay, but really using it for that big shot with your shores is just so powerful in general, is in terms of value. So because it effectively, what you're doing with it is you're using a 95 point cost unit to make a 120 cost, 15 cost something unit shoot again, which is really valuable. I think it's underutilized with Dark Troopers right now. I remember when Palpatine was still in the game, you could pull the strings on the Dark Troopers or pull the strings on, I think, even ATSTs and things like that. And that's why it was so valuable. Or on a Bosk, everyone loved pull the strings with Bosk because he's crit and pierce and range 4 suppressive, and that was really, really powerful back in the day. But now with Tarkin, you can only do it on Empire units, and so trying to think through which Empire units are really good at it. And Darth Vader is one of those that's very good at using pull the strings on, because he's a 230 point unit sometimes with force push, and so you're just running up and smacking things with 6 pierce 3 is really, really good. However, you're not going to get that off all the time. And so the value, I think, in pull the strings is how many times can you get that off in a game? And so if you can take something like the Shores, who only get 5 attacks a game, and give them 10 attacks a game, that's really, really valuable. Or something like the Dark Troopers, who typically only get off 8 attacks a game unless you're playing Breakthrough or Bunker, or somebody really comes at you fast with on a payload or something, maybe you'll get 9 or even 10 attacks a game. But if you use Tarkin on a fully decked out 6-man Dark Trooper unit, all of a sudden you're getting possibly 4 more attacks a game, and on a unit that's not going to die, and that's throwing typically 9 or 8 black crit 1. That's really, really powerful. And so I think there's a lot to be talked about with what is the best option to use Tarkin on and where you should use him. I think the Super Shores is an easy answer, because you can get all 10 or you can usually get an extra attack every round with the Super Shores because of their range. I think even using them on maybe like a Kallus Flamer Super Snow would be good, because if you can flame something twice with all those extra dice, I think that's pretty powerful. Some people were even talking about the Death Troopers and all the extra aims and stuff, and it's like, sure, It's still 5 dice, but if you have an option of a shore trooper getting pulled the strings or a dark trooper, that's way, way, way more powerful, I think, just in general for the game and the state of most games. You want to be able to attack pretty regularly and pretty hard. And so I think Tarkin with the super shores is a really good answer. So getting back into the game, we've just been placing stuff, pinking each other back and forth. He hit me with the scouts strike team. And at this point, I've thrown a couple of things down on the left side. Kallus, some scouts and dewback. The dark troopers death troopers can flex, because I put both my commanders next to the super shores because I want to make sure those super shores have enough aim support and enough ability to make a good impact on the game that it really forces him into some decisions on what he's going to do. And I figured if I hold my dewbacks till late, I can get them to a good position to where he has to really respond. And so my scouts are really, really fun. The scouts with the assault is really, really good. I've played a couple of games with them now, and I feel like they're just, what you're doing is you're looking for a trade. How much value are you trading, right? So he threw a Luke up there, and I was able to get 10 black onto Luke, which you never want Luke to be taking 10 black dice any time, right? And so Commander Luke took a shot, took a wound, I think, and I was in a prime position to round one go first with those scouts and assault Luke, which was really good. So he moves his bus on and he uses his chewy Wookiees to move forward, and he takes his bus and shoots the quad laser up at my sniper team. They're totally okay, don't even take a damage. So I respond to his Wookiees with my dewback, because my dewbacks are kind of my melee answer, right? They're 6 health. Against the Jedi, they'll die in 3 strikes, 2 strikes, something like that. But against the Wookiees, it'll take a little bit. And I need to do something to cancel those Wookiees. And so he wasn't able to move up top. He thought he could. He just didn't have the movement. And so he tried to move around the corner. He didn't trigger my standby on my dewback and was able to shoot my shores, and I don't think he did much damage to the shores there. But we were checking that standby range just to see if we could do a standby move, because that was my hope, is I can move in this forward with the standby and do something with the dewback. But he ended up just running and shooting, which it's still a really good shot from those Wookiees, and they're not even the shooty Wookiees. And so he fired, I think I took 1 shore trooper there, and just another expression, which wasn't a big deal with Indomitable, and I had Inspiring Presence on Tarkin, which I think is actually a really good upgrade on him, to have something that helps you with that. And so then he puts Din on the board. He jumps over this wall and starts coming at that far side, because that's where Kallus was. And so, which was great for me, because Din had a flamethrower, and that means he's not coming after my super short. And what can you do when the super shore isn't getting attacked by a flamer? You're happy every day. And so he just double moves on, doesn't really do anything. And that's his turn. And so then we end the turn round 1 with a pretty even board state. I have a pretty good plan. My right hand side is winning pretty hard right now. He's only got a single vet, core trooper, and Leia over there defending that home point. And so I can easily double move the dewback over there. I can move a core forward and guarantee I can score that center point. On the left-hand side is where I was a little bit more concerned. And so I played a 1 pip where I force him to go with something he doesn't want to go with yet. And he plays Din's 1 pip. And so I think I chose Leia to go first or last, and went ahead and went with those scouts so that I could get a shoot onto either Din or Luke. Ended up getting range 1 of Luke, got a full assault off on Luke, which was just massive. And I'm contesting that point and with cover. And so it's just such a big dice pool, right? It's like 13 dice, and when everything's said and done, it's just ridiculous. And Luke took a lot of damage, and he immediately had to go with Luke after that, which means Din's not running in. Leia's going to go last now, which means I can do a lot to attack all of her things without having her dodges out there. And so he moves into the melee with those shores, and because he couldn't take an aim or anything like that, he just runs in, and he has to take a dodge because he's worried that if he kills those shores those scouts, then I'll be able to just shoot him with everything else. And so thankfully he doesn't kill the scouts, but which was actually turned out to be a good thing for me. So because I could double move with Kallus to get into the melee with Luke. We were talking about it back and forth, and it looked like normally I could get in there, and so Kallus runs in there, he charges, swings at Luke with his pitiful little attack pool, and ends up doing 1 damage, I think, or no damage, something like that. But now Kallus is in there, which really matters for round 3 because Kallus has Interrogate. And a lot of people forget about that, but Interrogate raises the pip count of an opponent's pips so that if you play 2 pip per se and they play 1 pip, now it's become both cards are 2 pips. And if you have Cunning on Thrawn, all of a sudden that your 2 pip becomes a 1 pip and beats their 1 pip fair and square, which is really, really nice. And so it comes into play very much so later in the game. But the game continues. I move Thrawn up to contest and throw out some aims and dodges. He shoots back with his little snipers at my Death Troopers, and then I move the shores to where they can see, and because they have some aims, move, shoot, and just trying to take out this one vet. This one vet that he had left alive after this shot, I think, I was shooting at the Wookiees, but do some damage to the Wookiees. But there's a single man vet over there that just survives till like round 5. And that's so annoying. Sometimes vets just fold, but other times they just roll and roll and roll, and nothing you do can kill them. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world when they don't die. And so, went again with this Tarkin then at a time, shot at the Wookiees, did a bunch of damage to the Wookiees. They just have, I think, 4 health left there. And it was a big, big, big shot. And so he goes with them, he indomitables it all off, and he runs into the super shores, which is the right move. Means I can't get in there with my dewback, which is unfortunate, and so my dewback's gonna have to go and do something else. I tried to think about a way, how could I get like an opening, and then he runs and swings, and I was like, okay, maybe I can make an opening there. Did not think about the other dude and killing that off. But anyways, go with the sniper team, trying to kill off this one vet. I don't get the crit, and so it's just frustrating. He rolls and defends it and just takes another suppression, 2 suppression, and that was that. He gets his core, and he's gonna start moving them up, and he moves them into a place where he can shoot at my guys. Oh no, this is his agent, sorry. His agent moves up and shoots at my dewback, I believe it was, trying to do some damage before he runs in. Or no, the deaths. He tries to shoot the deaths as well. They run off, don't care. The mortar shoots at the vet, just does 2 suppression. Real frustrating. The vet has survived for so long at this point. He takes his quad laser gun, shoots at my snipers, doesn't do anything to them, and then he moves up. Which he probably should have done a double move, but he was moving to contest the secondary there, which was a good move on his part. And then my Death Troopers kind of rally for 1 action, and they just look to fire at something. They have that aim from the security detail, which I've actually really liked as a 5-point upgrade on them, because you're going to get retinue from the High Command, Imperial High Command, and it's just having extra aim, having extra dodge every round. I think it's worth 5 points. Like, it's not a bad upgrade, and having it on the DFT 16 Death Trooper is actually not bad at all, because you actually get the compel, and it's really helpful. So I move up with the dewback, get into range, flamer his core, do basically nothing. Just do little plink damage. Sometimes your dice are hot, sometimes they're not. And he moves up with the other core, making sure to stay maintaining scoring there, because Cauldron, if you're not scoring your home point, you can't score the middle points. Or if you're not scoring the home point, you can't score. Yeah, you have to be scoring at one either your home point or the enemy's home point to score the middle, but you don't get a point for scoring the enemy's home point, which is really interesting with this game, with the way the game it makes you play the game, because you want to defend your 2 and then fight over the middle 2. And however, you can't score the middle if you're not scoring your home point. So suppression lists really love Cauldron, and gun lines really love Cauldron, because it forces you to kind of stay back and then run up towards the middle. And if you don't want to fight over the middle, you just stay on your back 2, shooting at their back 2 and suppressing them off to where they can't score. You can do quite a bit. So I double move with those core to get to the scoring of the middle, and I'm pretty positive I'm just going to score that no matter what happens next, because if he moves somebody out, I can move another dude on there on the right hand side. And so he double moves Din in to come get into the melee with Kallus and the scout, but he really wanted to win that center point, and so he chose to double move into the scout and shoot the scout and versatile shoot out at the dewback. He ends up killing the scout and does no damage to the dewback. So it was pretty simple for me there. Not a big swing of things. My dewback, I just chose to spur and move into the bus, because I wanted to prevent it from moving forward, because I knew that if I could get it to where I was in such a position that the bus couldn't like go score my home point or something. But it was also the best thing I had to do damage on the bus, because it was critical. And so he goes with Leia, he moves up with her, and she shoots at my storms, I think, and does a few damage, but they're fine. I got the courage bubble for days over there, and it's really easy just to stay on that point without getting suppressed off. And then I have my last scouts, and so my scouts, they move down and then they look for a little, or no, I was gonna move down, and because Din wasn't engaged but I can see Din, I decided to just do a shoot, I think, at the end of that. And so aim shoot Din, because I could see him where I was at. Oh no, I decided to move and shoot. I moved and shot at Din, or something, I forget exactly what I moved and shot at. But end of the turn scoring, we both scored 2 points because we scored our home points, and we were or 5 points. We both scored 5 points. It was a big swing because we both had the secondaries. We both scored. We both scored our home points, and then we each scored an additional middle point. And so then I went with the 2 pip or the 1 pip hold the line, because I needed Kallus to survive. I went with 1 pip hold the line here, and it was a big success for Kallus, because Kallus now has surging, and he can survive a Din and a Luke shot or swings. And so that was my hope. I mean, Kallus is still only 5 health. He's not super tanky. Swung at Luke, and he's got some suppression on him now, so he didn't get as many white dice from his command card, but he was able to survive the swing from Kallus, which is disappointing, but it just means Luke just has to dodge and swing back, and that's okay by me for him to dodge and swing back. And so he has an order on Din, he has an order on Luke, and then he just passes out some dodges, and it's not the end of the world. And then so I go with Kallus's 2 pip, or sorry, Thrawn's 2 pip. I go with Thrawn's 2 pip to get a swing again, but I shoot with the scouts onto Din and hoping to do some more damage. I do a little bit of damage, but mostly just adding to suppression. And then I go with them for their turn, and I aim and shoot at Din again, hoping to do some more, do a little bit more damage and a little bit more suppression. And so now Din's got so much suppression on him that he can't do anything. He's effectively panicked at this time. He can't move into Kallus. He can't, if he wants to, swing. So he's got to just shoot. And so he takes some shots at the scouts, ends up killing them, but they got their value out of them because of the Thrawn's 2 pip and the suppression they just threw down. And so that was really great. The dewback was able to rally and charge into Din and doing another suppression onto him, which panics him, and so he can't score this round, which was really big for me. And So now I only had to have 2 units on that point, and so you had to move a third on there. And so now my Death Troopers are moving forward, and they're looking to take a shot. I was trying to decide what to do, whether to shoot at Leia or at the other guys. I ended up shooting at Leia just to throw some suppression on her. She gets a suppression or some suppressive on them, and it wasn't a big deal. He then goes with his agent, and now he's looking to take out my strike team there, and so he gets positioned where he can just barely see them. I have heavy cover, can't really lose much. Low profile takes a lot, and I end up losing 1 dude, which was great for me because it meant I held on to that point. If I didn't hold on to that point, that would have been really terrible. So go with Tarkin. He moves, pull the strings onto the Chewie, end up killing nothing, I think, with it, because I just rolled a bunch of surges. And that's the one downside of the shore troopers, is they don't surge to hit. And so sometimes you get a really bad dice roll that otherwise would have been great on something else. So he moves and shoots, and then I move and shoot, or take some damage from, I think it was those core onto my core. And then I go with my scout strike team, and I just shoot and move down, because I can do because it's the only miniature left in the unit at that time, and so it can do the strike team, I think. And so we decided he could do it, and I shot and then moved down just to get behind that line of sight blocking so he couldn't kill me, and so that I would be contesting, and he's too far away with his units to contest that, so I guarantee that point back there, which is great for me because he had to climb down, and so he decided to climb down and shoot rather than do anything else. So I went ahead, he was moving to go with my strike team, take a shot at that one lone dude back there, end up finally killing him after all this time. I got the crit, able to do the damage, kill him. He goes with his bus, and he moves around, and so I had placed Thrawn in such a way that wherever he came, like, it would block the bus, hopefully, and it ended up making a way to where he decided, I'm going to move the bus to block line of sight from Leia. And so I went ahead and went with the dewback and double moved and tried to flamer those core over there and get it down to 1 to where he would lose that. Didn't do any damage, really. Just kind of added a suppression onto him. With Leia right there, it wasn't a big deal. So she goes, and she ends up sniping my little core right there. And, oh no, she fires at the dewback because they already sniped the core. So she fires at the dewback, does the damage, not a big deal. Thrawn goes, and now Thrawn is able to move to that center point and shoot back at some stuff, or he's able to drop some aims and dodges. And that's what I was trying to think about. Do I need aims and dodges on things, or do I need to shoot at stuff? And I think I decided to end up just shooting so I could guarantee the point there and maybe help the dewback tie up that back point against him. Because I did aims and dodges, because if I shot it, I wouldn't kill them because they have so many dodges, and the suppression wouldn't have mattered. And so I just moved and strategized, which wasn't a big deal. So he went with the Wookiee. I don't know, who did he shoot me with? He shot me with the sniper team. He shot Thrawn with the sniper team, did a little bit of damage. I swung with the shores and ended up killing all but Chewbacca on 1 health. And so that Chewbacca unit survived a really long time. He goes with them, and he swings back at me. I think he does 2 damage. And then I go with my mortar trooper and just start double moving that way towards the center point so that I have 2 on that center point. And I started getting my points lead because we were tied up in the middle on his side, and I had the other side, and so it was getting to a point where he couldn't really keep up. Yeah, so he moved his commandos over at the end of the round, and then we went to cards. Now this is where I played a little trick. So I went with the High Command Imperial 2 pip. He went with a 1 pip from Luke. Now with Son of Skywalker, it's a 1 pip, but because Kallus is there, Kallus has Interrogate, which increases the pip of Luke to a 2. So now we're tied, and because there was a forum ruling on Imperial High Command that if Thrawn plays it, then I get cunning. And so that's what I did. And I did the card effect with Kallus. I killed Luke, which gave me a bounty and the bonus point from the card, and that was game. At that point, the game was over. There wasn't really much more he could do because I would just score, and I just had to hold 2 points, and there was no way that he could stop me from scoring 2 points, and so the game was over. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it was entertaining for you, and I hope you like this new little character. That's something new I'm trying out. See you guys all in the next one.